Good evening and welcome to the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. Tom and Jeff with you, and tonight we have Colin Jameson joining in. Colin, how you doing, sir?
Super fantastic. Thanks for having me back.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you back. Tom, you're on mute in case you wondered. Just reminding you.
No, I don't wonder anymore.
Okay, there you go.
I'm here.
Tom still got the Movember going, I think, or
yeah. Another
Ron,
day.
Thank you, sir. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So yeah. So you guys, what's the weather like up there now? Is it still is
cold and icy?
Yeah, it was -2 or 3 when I got home tonight.
Mm.
Didn't get above freezing here all day.
Mm.
The cove in front of my house is all iced up the last couple of days, so it's feeling a lot like winter.
yeah, I know. I keep keep thinking about warmer weather, but yeah. So
I don't mind the cold air. I don't mind the cold air. I don't have to shovel that. So
yeah, yeah, I know. That's up in the UP, getting quite a bit of snow already. So 15 inches in Sault Ste. Marie yesterday. So
wow.
Yeah, it's good
you
time.
Know that lake effect snow up there, right?
What's that? Yeah, lake effect. Yes, sir.
Lake effect snow. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing they get in Buffalo. We have friends in Buffalo, and they get hammered over there sometimes. They get 6 feet in a day. I can't imagine that. 6 feet of snow in a day. That's
time to move.
I couldn't do it. Sorry, couldn't do it. Anyway, thank you, folks, for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate you joining in. We're going to be talking about the Curse of Oak Island, Season 11, Episode number 4, Sheer Mystery. And we saw that, early on, we were talking about some of the titles that are coming up with the show titles. And we figured, must have something to do with a pair of shears. And sure enough, it really was. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. I did want to say, for those of you who would like to help support the show, you can do it the way Ron did. You could do a super chat. Thank you very much, Ron. You can do it that way. You could also get one of those fancy tumblers that we have, the J-Free 906 tumblers. You can get those from blue6laser.com, and she will she'll get those.
She'll mail it to you, folks. She'll mail it to you.
Yeah, she'll mail it to you. She will. She'll send those right out to you at blue6laser.com. She does wonderful work on those. We love her dearly for doing all that. Or you could get one of these shirts right here. I got the T-shirt right there and the hats, the T-shirts and the hats. You can check those out. Yes, there's Colin's got his on right there. Oh, Tom's got his. All right. Thank you, guys.
East Coast.
Yeah, see, yep, there you go. The good stuff. And so those are available. You can find those at jfree906.com. You can find those things there. So we appreciate that very much. Anyway, thank you. Or a patron. You can be a patron. And I appreciate the patrons that we have so very much. Thank you all. Really do appreciate it. We will be having a giveaway again tonight. And for these giveaways, we started doing this, but people have been donating things to us to give away. And this week we have, let me get this picture up here. I didn't even get this started early here. I got to share the screen real quick. It is this, and I don't know, is this actually a book or is it a soft book? More like a magazine. It's Lee Lamb, and it's the Oak Island Family, the Rest All Hunt for Buried Treasure. And I believe Jan, this is from Jan, right, Linda? Yes, she's not. So it's from Jan Anderson. Donated this. So yeah, so that's going to be good. Now, how you get it to be, and all of you, I know I repeat myself just like they do on the show all the time, right? But I'll tell you. So to get one of these, to be eligible to get this giveaway that we're doing, you have to be part of a member of our Facebook group page, which is the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. And you will, and we get Linda will put up a post, and it'll have the picture of whatever we're giving away, and she'll have giveaway on there and all that. And all you have to do is say yes as a comment to that post in Facebook, and then that automatically enters you. And yeah, Henry says he wants it. Yeah. So yeah, donated by Jan Anderson. So and we'll do a spin for that. We'll do that here in just a little bit as we go in, and you must be present at the podcast to get it. So that's our giveaway for tonight.
Awesome.
And then also real quick, I know this is not Skinwalker Ranch, but tomorrow night, I just want to say it. It's my podcast, so I can say this. Tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern time, for those of you who like the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, Shannon DeSalvo and Jim Kelgard and myself are going to be hosting Mr. Caleb Bench. He'll be with us tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern time. Jim Barlow, thank you so much, sir. Wow. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So Caleb Bench will be with us tomorrow night live right here on the J Free 906 podcast. Looking forward to that one. It's going to be fun. We'll have a nice time with him, and he's got a special announcement to make also. So he'll be sharing some good stuff with us. So, all right. So I wanted to ask you, Colin, what do you think of the season so far? Curse of Oak Island.
I've been strangely, exceptionally excited about it all. I did. I won't lie. I'm a diehard. I watch it all summer as before it's going. The last couple of years, especially last season, I was getting a little bit flaky. But boy, I'll tell you, this year, it's first few episodes have been pretty great. The last one was nothing too earth shattering in it.
Yep.
But it's getting there. So
right.
I think big things are on the horizon.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel the same way about it. Last year they kind of shot out of the cannon. The first several shows had all this great stuff, and then it kind of died off a little bit. And I think this year, maybe they learned from that, not to give all their good stuff away right away. So, but I did hear from someone on the island that I was speaking with this morning. I won't say who, but I was told that the finds are awesome this year.
Oh, yeah.
That they, the finds that they have around, a lot more to come on the finds, the things that they have found on the island, a lot more to come. So, good stuff there for sure. And I'm excited. My big thing is I'm excited about the garden shaft and getting down to that tunnel.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tom? What's your big thing?
Get that garden shaft finished. I want to see where this tunnel goes.
Yes.
Get that second permit. They got one permit. I need both permits to make this thing work, guys.
No, it's happening. It's definitely happening. Because Jeff, when you hear this summer, I think you it's an extra experience when you get to actually watch kind of from the water of what's going on all summer. And then when you get the show going and you're trying to match up what's happening.
Yep.
I know from just being in the area, watching all summer, really into the fall, they went really long with this. There's probably this year felt like the most activity I've seen. So there should be a lot of really great material I'm looking forward to as the shows come out. It's going to be pretty epic, I think.
Yeah, one thing you said in the pre-show too was you were talking about how, because you went out there several times throughout the summer. You went out there many times and were taking pictures and observing and all that. And you were talking about the fact that the garden, the crane and the hammer grab in there was going all the time. Yeah. That's good news for people like me. I mean, I'm, all about that. So.
Yeah, they were going on, in previous years, it was kind of a Monday to Friday generally. There'd be a few things maybe in the weekend. But I was surprised here, even Labor Day long weekend, Sunday afternoon at 4:00, those guys are still pulling stuff out of the shaft and digging, and they were going straight time. It was, I'm very excited to see they weren't doing it for nothing. I mean, they spent huge amount of money and resources to do all the activities on the island this summer. I can't believe it was all for nothing. Yeah. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And for those, and like Colin just mentioned too, and last June, Brenda, thank you so much for all we do. Tom and Colin and Linda and Jan and everybody and Seth and all that. Thank you so much, Brenda. Appreciate that. Being there last June, and you're so right, because now I kind of have, and right now in the show time frame that we're watching is when I was there, right that latter part of June, that third week of June is when we were there. And so I kind of know what's going on because I was there. So it's you keep looking, when they were over at lot 5 and they're showing the water, and I'm looking out there going, where's Colin's boat? Is it out there?
We were there. I'm pretty sure in this last couple of episodes when the guys were on lot 5 and they were pulling stuff out.
Mhm.
Because when we were there, they had the
Yeah.
big film crew was watching,
Yeah.
and we kind of snuck in and we kind of tried to sneak our way back out, not cause too much trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so funny because we went around. We were over on the other side of the island, over out by the swamp,
Yeah.
south side of the swamp, and we came back around the island, around Isaac's Point. We came back around, and we come tooling up, and we get right there by lot 5, and we hadn't at first. I didn't see any people over there. We were looking in there, and we saw there was a backhoe and some other machinery that were right around where they're doing the circle feature, the rock
Yeah.
feature. And so we were in there looking, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh look, there's people over there, and Colin. I mean, we were literally how far from the water, the beach were we? I
We
mean,
weren't very far. It was high tide. We were pretty much on top of it by that point.
I know, and it's like we pulled right up there, and it's like, and then all of a sudden we saw cameras, and we saw Steve Guptill standing there, and there's Laird,
Back
and
up.
Rick is over there digging he's on his knees, he's digging in a hole, and I'm like, Colin, you probably shouldn't be here right now. Start backing away quietly.
Back up the boat, but zoom in the camera.
Yeah, back up. We're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was hilarious. But
It was fun.
yeah, and I keep thinking, what did they find? What's
Yeah.
it that little piece that they found? That little gun part, the ramrod.
Yeah.
Thing. I think it was. I really do. So it was exciting. But now you can relate. And folks, if you have not been up to Nova Scotia and go over to that area, if you get the opportunity next year, go. Honestly, the whole area up there in Nova Scotia, Mahone Bay, Chester, the whole area is wonderful, beautiful place to be. Peggy's Cove, the lighthouse, the Glooscap Stone, everywhere we went, the people are friendly and nice. It was just wonderful. And then hopefully next year, the interpretive center will be open and you can actually drive across park and go inside and see those scissors that they showed last night and all that kind of stuff because it'll be on display there.
And hopefully it won't rain next summer as much as it rained this summer. You got lucky when you were here. You guys brought the sunshine with you, thank goodness.
Oh man.
But afterwards, boy, it rained a lot down here all last summer.
Yeah, we got to show them what rain looked like here in New Brunswick.
Yeah. I was worried about Tom's cabin. The out at the hunting cabin, and it was like the water was flowing under it like a river. I thought for sure we were just going to right down the hill into the river there. So, but anyway, yeah. So really, really a wonderful place, folks. If you get a chance, you have to go up there and visit. It's really, it's definitely worth the time to go. They cut us out of the shop. They didn't They didn't know it was Jay Free. Yeah, right.
I definitely think they did know you were on the boat.
Or they
you
did.
were actually on top of the boat with the drones were coming over. They were seeing it, so they knew it was you.
Yeah, that was funny because Scott did come out. Yeah, we were on the other side, and Scott came out because yeah, he saw us. I know we saw the drone fly over the boat, and I thought it was
We were in trouble.
I thought we were in trouble. I thought they were thinking it was our drone, and I'm like, it's not our drone. It's not our drone. And it was Scott. And he came over. He was talking to us across right there at the swamp area.
Call the drone police. Call the drone.
Yeah,
police.
call the drone police and shoot that thing down. It actually was theirs, and they flew it right over top of us when we were in the boat out there. So yeah, it was a wild time. But yeah, you got to go and see it. It's just a wonderful place in the area. Just beautiful, beautiful place. All right, let's get to it. So the money pit. The guys start off in the money pit, and let me get my pictures rolling here because you guys know I love to do the pictures. So, all right, so there we go. All right, so the Curse of Oak Island, episode number 4, Sheer Mystery, and of course there's our drone shot of the island. And then, of course, they start off in the money pit. Now they're working on a new drill hole. They moved over to D.5N -27.
Yeah.
And again, they're trying to intercept that tunnel that runs underneath the garden shaft from the baby blob over to that area. And some people have been wondering, why are they chasing it that way? And I think the main reason is because they want to see where it goes and how far back down the hill it goes, right? I mean,
the question is, where does it start and where does it end?
Exactly. And you had a little bit of a clue for us on that, did you not? I mean, you were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I'm curious to see as the next number of episodes come out, because I remember one of the posts I had put on the on our Facebook page, you guys' Facebook page, was that they were drilling, doing choice drilling was doing an area that I'd never seen them drill before. So as they kind of go, I guess it'd be southeast, kind of from the money pit, Dumas, the shaft, and running kind of towards Isaac's Point way,
Mhm.
and they were right down in the wooded area. So they keep going and following that tunnel, and they were up in the woods. You could hear it. I think one of the videos I had posted on the site
You
was
could hear it. Mhm.
you could hear the drill rig going, but you couldn't see them because they were so far up in the woods. So it's very curious to see. And I go back to, it's kind of, where did the tunnel clearly started somewhere.
Mhm.
And it's in that last episode was a wow, like when that 7-foot section. And they're
Yes.
saying,
Yeah.
this isn't some little tiny shaft someone was sneaking through. This is a huge,
Mhm.
in my opinion, John, I could walk in there, and I'm a pretty big guy,
Mm.
7-foot
Yep.
shaft. So it had to start somewhere. And did it start on the shoreline on the other side by Isaac's Point, and then kind of go
Mm.
underground and intersect under the garden shaft?
Could
Does
be.
it end in the Baby Blob area? I guess
Yeah.
we're gonna find out in a hot minute. So
Yeah, I was wondering if it had anything to do with that ship's log that they found too. Remember when they said that that they
yeah,
were going to dig a tunnel from the shore to the secret chamber, to the treasure chamber?
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm.
And it's kind of heading that way. So they have to chase it. And I know that one of the things, and I'm gonna mention this again. I kind of talked about this a little bit before. They said the farthest east extension, the farthest east extension. So they're going that way. They're heading that direction to the east, and they're
Mhm.
trying to chase the tunnel down to see exactly where the other end of it. Where does it stop, or does it keep going? Is there an opening? Maybe they'll come across an opening. Whether or not they could get into it, I don't know. But something that Alex said during the segment that I heard, and I went back and I listened to it like 3 times because I
Mhm.
wanted to get, and I wrote down, I was trying to get it exactly the way he said it. But when they were drilling down, and this was that D5N 27, and when they were drilling down in it, he said, could be the conduit for which the high metal concentration is flowing, bringing it to the baby blob.
yeah,
Now, that kinda surprised me because, as you all know, the baby blob is the area where they have been finding the highest concentrations of
Right.
silver and gold in the water, and now
mm,
palladium.
Mhm.
Um, Now he said bringing it to
Correct.
the baby blob. He didn't say from the baby
No,
blob.
that tells me he suspects the offset chambers in that area.
Exactly.
mm,
Exactly. And that's kind of what I was saying last week about that 7.5 foot piece of wood that they dug out of there. It came up in the core sample. Would that be a tunnel? It's likely. Yes, it could be a tunnel. I'm not saying it isn't, but could it also be a chamber of some sort?
yeah. I guess it goes back to the whole, where does it start? If it ends in the Baby Blob, does it start from somewhere else, comes in,
Yeah, it would have to. Yeah.
and they have some offset chambers to it? So
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really curious about that. But when he said that, it made my ears perk up, and I had to go back and listen to it again
I also
because
thought that 7-foot piece that they found initially, I thought, well, maybe that's part of a shaft,
mm.
right? Where they're
And I
building, maybe they
think,
build it in segments going down, but I don't think it is because they didn't find enough disturbed soil above it.
yeah,
oh, that's
It was
right.
solid soil above it, and they
yeah.
didn't find any other wood above it. So
Mhm.
no, I think it's a
And
tunnel.
I see, as Wayne Pierce had said, the cave-in pit is east of the garden shaft, right? And it is, the garden shaft is in that general direction.
Mhm.
I think when I seen them digging the core drilling rig, it was more southwest of the sunken area. But again, when you're looking from the water, it's kind of hard to really get a good gauge on exactly where they are. But
Yeah, it could be. Could be something dragging a cart. You would have to, you would think, what's the reason for making a tunnel that tall? I don't know. It would have to be because people are going to be in their work and you're swinging a pick or whatever and shovels and everything else. I mean, you'd need room. because they were talking about most of the other tunnels only about 3 to 5 feet tall
Mm.
that they found. So this one is
I
exceptional.
need John Edwards to tell me what are the dimensions of the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh, well, now 2
I need
cubits by
something
3
big enough. I
cubits.
need a big enough tunnel to bring that, to put that in there, right?
Yeah, 2 cubits by 3 cubits.
Yeah.
And somebody walking upright to carry it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're not going to hunch over and carry
No.
it. You're going to have to stand upright. So
That's
lots
right.
of things to ponder on that, right? So lots of room for big carts of treasure. Yeah, exactly.
But you got to
Right.
think, like, what blows my mind when you watch the stuff, you're thinking, here they're using the latest technology, best equipment available, almost to the point of money being no object, and trying to dig holes 100 and some feet in the ground. And here's someone a couple of 100 years ago with hand tools to
Mhm.
dig a 7, like when you stand there and put 7 feet high
Yeah.
underground in water intrusion. They didn't have fancy diesel pumps and all this kind of stuff to try to drain all the regular just groundwater out, never mind flood tunnels or anything else. That, that was not done on a whim, or hey guys, we're really bored. Let's go dig a hole in the ground.
Let's go dig a hole 200 feet deep and see how it works out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it's just like an unbelievable undertaking. You think of stuff like the pyramids and these other just incredible engineering feats.
Yep.
I mean, it really would be an incredible engineering feat to dig a hole that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we look at the money pit area now and we see a bunch of people up there working, and what do you see? 10 or 15 people. And the ship's log letter that we were going over
Yeah, I
last
was
week
just
said
going to bring that up.
200 people.
200.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know, Cat. Maybe. I mean, accommodate oxen.
Oxen, depending on the breed. Yeah. I mean, I saw the ones that Carmen, handles down there in New Ross, and they're not, or Ross Farms. And yeah, I mean, I'm not 6 feet tall, but they're taller than me. So,
But just to move the material, I think we were talking earlier, like we watched once the crane gets going, that hammer grab, they're taking material out of that garden shaft. I'm
Right.
assuming it's because they dug another, whatever, 20 odd feet deeper.
20 more feet. Yep.
I'm assuming, I guess we'll see as the season goes on, but by the length that I've seen them pull the material out, that they started digging laterally
Mm-hmm.
into the tunnel. And I mean, they were taking material out. I think someone else said about Karen said, like, she's right there too all the time. And they were constantly, like 7 days a week. You go on like a Sunday at supper time, they were taking material. You go on a Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, they were taking material out. And this is with, really big high tech machinery.
Exactly.
Again, back in the day, for you to dig a hole, it's one thing to dig it and loosen the dirt, but then I got to take the dirt, I got to move the dirt, I got to put the dirt somewhere. So it was a great point. Was it done with, did they have to make the shaft that big just to get carts and oxen and manpower and people to drag that kind of stuff in and out?
Yeah.
You'd think it would be an incredible feat to do that. But
Yeah, exactly. Wood chest sealed with concrete on a cart. If they were, talking about the chapel vault. Yeah. And again, it does. If you're going to be bringing all that material in there, all the lumber and everything to build the actual vault, you're going to need a big room in there to be able to bring all those timbers and stuff down there. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, but I tell you, they've gotten farther now along than they ever have yet in this whole endeavor. And I know it's taken 11 seasons to get here to this point, but I think they are so very close now at this point. And again, you talk about this, this area up there, is there an offset shaft or not? Because before they were hitting that down in the Baby Blob area, they were hitting the tunnel at about 92 feet. Was it 92 to 95?
92 to 90, in that range. Yeah.
Right. And now you go up here to on top, and they are hitting it at about 107.
that's right.
And so 95 to 107, that's only 12 feet. Is that about the height, the difference of the hillside there? I guess so.
I would guess so. From the pictures and staying there, it looks about that. Yeah.
Craig. Thank you, Craig. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Craig. Appreciate it. Really do. It's nice of you. So I don't know, lots to think about, but here we go. Okay, we'll get back to the money pit here in just a few minutes. Let's jump over to the war room. Of course, they had a really quick little war room meeting, and basically it was just to get in there and talk to the folks at Dumas Contracting Limited to find out that yes, the pit permits have been approved, and they said we are mobilizing on our way. And we saw when we were there on Colin's boat, we saw that the crane was actually being assembled down there on the road on the south side of the swamp. They were actually putting it together. Where we saw on the show tonight, we saw them putting it together, and sure enough, that's where they were. And they already had the one boom on the end of it already, and it was laying idle. They weren't even messing with it. I think the reason for that is because they were drilling that last hole, number 27, DN 27. Because remember, you talk on the show, they mentioned about how they have to hurry up and get done so the crane can move up. And I think that's why the crane was sitting idle on that day, on the 21st there. So
yeah, those things cost a fortune to have on hand. And you pay for them 24 hours a day. You don't pay for them for 9 hours. You pay for them for 24 hours.
Yeah. Can permits be approved in the off season? Ron, I don't think so. I think that I don't, you would, because they mentioned this before, about why didn't they get the permit started during the wintertime and have everything ready to go early?
My guess, that's a little bit for TV. I suspect a lot of that stuff is preset and done and going. Like, you couldn't put that material out there early spring. We had so much water, the ground would be soft. You almost need to get a little bit later in the summer for things to kind of dry up a little bit before you start putting some of the bigger equipment in. But getting permits and doing what those are, I think they're all real things. I don't know if they're faking any of that, but the timing of it, because the show is never accurate timeline.
No,
because you'll see it, things will kind of jump around a little bit throughout the season when you're watching.
And like we talked about last week, from the time they actually decided that season 11 was going to be a go, and that we're going to do this with budgets and people and manpower planning and everything else, and back and forth between government agencies and engineers, and it takes months. Like, it's not something you're going to sit down the 1st of June, fill out the form, send it in, have them stamp it, and send it back to you by June 30th.
Exactly.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. That stuff takes a long time. Permits usually take 6 months. That's what Wayne says. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm getting the feeling that they do take that long. So, So anyway, we know that they're done. They got the permits, and they got them earlier this year. Well, last year they got the permits. They got started. Then they had to stop. Remember that? They had to stop because they decided, well, you're not just refurbing an old shaft. You're actually mining.
You're actually mining.
Permit. So boom, it all fell apart, and then they had to sit there and wait. And the crane sat there long enough for the nest to be built on the top of it. I was told they applied last fall. Then the province came back saying that they needed to do one for deepening the shaft and another one for doing the side tunnels. Yes. Yep. Yeah. And it's a good thing that they did do that.
Yeah, I think they were told that don't apply for them both in one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Do the vertical as one, and the horizontal as the second one. Then it uncomplicates things.
Yep. Yeah.
You get the green light on the vertical one, and then you can worry about the horizontal one later.
Yeah, and wouldn't it have been terrible if they got down there and they went down their extra 20? Well, it's actually going to be 16 feet because each of the sets is about 8 feet. So they put 2 more sets on. They get down, and then all of a sudden they go, "Oh, you need a permit to go the other way." Oh, now we got to apply. It's going to take months or whatever. So yeah, and like Deidre said, yeah, they got to take some time off too during the winter. It was after the first of the year. It took about 6 months, which is about right for them and getting ready to go down. At the end of June. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Good point.
Makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure does. So while this work is going on over in the money pit, you have the guys, Peter and Gary, are taking off. They're walking down here. Now they're on the shoreline, which is about where our boat was, or Colin's boat was. They're coming down to the shoreline there at lot 5, and he called it a slipway. Did you hear? Gary called it a slipway.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that meant slipway for, I think he was talking about an old slipway, not the slipway for Robert Young.
Well, it's all cleared out there, so you could easily drag a boat up in there.
Yeah, and that's
rocks. The big rocks are all gone and moved to one side. So
Yep.
Throw a couple logs in there. You can haul a boat up in there, no problem.
And I grabbed this particular picture for two reasons. One, because I wanted to show Peter and Gary, but also because of this rock. You see this big rock back here? I mean, I don't know. In your opinion, right now, I would say the tide is out right now in this picture, right?
Tide's very low right now.
Very low. Okay, that's what I was thinking. You see this big rock right here. Now we know the sea levels, and there's all these rocks around the island that according to Zena's map, if it's true, it talks about different key points and stuff around there. And here's another one of these big giant boulders, and here's another one they're walking by right here.
The one he's walking by with Peter, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, big boulders that definitely could be marked, as markers. And I'm sure you would think that they've looked over all these things, looking for any kind of markers or anything, any kind of carvings. But anyway, that's I just love those big boulders. I'm always thinking, man, you got to investigate these things for carvings on them. But they get going over there, and right off the bat, the first hit brings up a cribbing spike, or what Gary called a cribbing spike. We've seen these before. And you think, well, why would there be a cribbing spike over there? Well, now you go back to what Gary said about there being a slipway. This seemed like it was a slipway area to him.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a slipway there? I don't know. I've never heard that before until you mentioned it, but that's something that would be used in a slipway, probably to get two big pieces of wood nailed together. They keep going to the next spot, and they find this piece here, which Gary says right off the bat, he thinks it's part of the handle to a pair of shears, hence the name of the show, Shear Mystery. So the handle of the shears. Now, you would think, where's the other one? Why didn't they find both of them over here? The rest of it should be laying around here somewhere, unless it broke and somebody just threw the pieces. Who knows? But I said, I'm always wondering, when they find a broken piece, where's the rest of it?
Yeah.
Why didn't they find the rest of it right there close by?
Somebody took it and went.
Yeah, threw it out in the water. I paid good money for these things, 3 shillings. But so anyway, so you got a couple pieces, and again, it's a good find, and we'll follow up on that here just a little bit. I remember we were out with Carmen, and Carmen said he had to get back to the island to go check something out. That's all he said. He just, nope, gotta go. All right, see you later. Was that it? I don't know. Probably shouldn't say that. But anyway, so and let's do real quick. Let's go ahead and do the giveaway while we're at this point. Let's see. Get my mouse going. There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do the giveaway right now so we can roll on. So we'll get Linda up here. And Linda was talking about the size of the Ark of the Covenant, 2.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits. So 44 by 26 by 26. It's supposed to be pretty heavy.
4.4 feet by 2.6 feet. Is that what it says?
Yeah, 4.4 by 2.6.
Yeah. So yeah.
And lined in gold.
Could be it.
Could be. Could
Just
be why
saying.
they did that. All right.
Sure hope they didn't drill a hole through it.
My property value could be going up here, guys. Go Ark Covenant.
Well, I know there's people that say they would love to see the Ark of the Covenant on Oak Island, and honestly, I'm going to have to say, as kind of neat as that would be, I hope they don't find it on the island, because that means Revelations time. So
That's true.
yes. All right. So we're going to be going we're spinning for the book. Let's see. I don't have that picture handy again real quick, so we can just roll with it. And again, Linda's going to spin, and then we'll find out who wins it this time.
Great. Just
Are you
remember,
ready?
you have to be present to win.
I am here. Just saying.
Colin's here. Colin's not on the wheel, but Colin is here.
You're not on the wheel. Neither am I, Colin. All right. I think
right.
we're ready.
Ready?
Yep. Up just a little.
Little higher, Linda. Chris, nope.
Renee. Keith Wood.
Nice.
Keith Wood. Is Keith here? I don't know if I've seen Keith his name pop up on anything. He's
Keith was
usually
here earlier, I
Keith,
thought.
are you here? Keith Wood? I know we got about a 12-second delay. Let us know if you're here,
He
Keith.
was here earlier. I see him back at 8:55.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought he was here early.
Keith, are you here? Yeah,
So-
Colin's about. Yeah, Colin can almost see the. How far away from Oak Island are you?
About 5 minutes by car and 5 minutes by boat, I guess.
Yeah,
About 10 minutes, yeah.
doesn't take long. Nothing from Keith. Keith, where are you?
Picked the wrong time to go to the fridge, pal.
Keith, honestly.
Oh man,
8:55 he was here.
he was here at 8:55.
Yeah.
Keith, did you nod off? Was it that riveting of a show?
Tea break.
I don't
Keith needed a beer.
Hard to work when
Darn
nature
it,
calls.
Keith.
know. Paging Mr. Keith. Oh, hopefully he didn't leave.
Hopefully he's right there somewhere. But anyway, I'll show you something here. I got the other guys in the island aren't the only guys that use baggies, eh?
Oh yeah, and write on them in a.
I didn't
permanent
write on
notebook.
them. This is something I got off the shoreline in Grand Manan a couple years ago with my brother. If anybody wants to see what a cribbing spike looks like,
Oh wow, that's one that's not all completely.
that's not one that's completely
Oh,
annihilated.
it's fat in the center. Why is it fat in the center? Does that help
I
hold
have
it in?
no idea.
I noticed that the
kind of
ones
the way they
that
build
Gary finds are always kind of fat in the middle of it. the
Yeah,
middle
and
section.
skinny
Well,
top
I
and
think
the
because
top.
most of their life they're in the wood and the outsides will be more exposed to
Right,
water.
Oh, could be. Could be. But
makes
yeah.
sense.
So, and they get very flaky. I actually sent a picture of that to Carmen, had him look at it, and he said it's in terms of cribbing spikes, it's relatively new. It's only 150 years old, but he said
Oh.
the same
young one.
idea.
Wow.
Very good.
All right, Keith.
Okay,
Okay,
Keith, I
guys.
stalled for you long enough, pal. Where are you?
Yeah, we stalled for you, Keith. We did the best we could.
Mhm.
Now he'll pop in after we give it to somebody else, and he'll show up and yeah. All right, we're gonna
All
spin
right.
again. Here we go. That's perfect right there. I just saw his name go by again. Mary Huber Allison. Mary, are you here? We had one the other day. We had to spin several times to get a winner.
Okay, I stalled last time. Colin, your turn to sing.
Shut her down if that's the case.
Yeah, where's the off button?
Yeah.
Colin's gonna dance.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be something.
It would. Listen.
Oh well, Mary.
Sorry, guys.
Wow, sing us a sea shanty.
I had dinner at the seaside shanty a couple of days ago.
Did you really? All right.
Pretty awesome.
Oh, mute works, Colin. Oh, so no Mary. We don't have a Mary out there. Oh my gosh. Are we gonna have to spin again? Seth
Okay.
said spin again. Oh my goodness. Well,
Seth, your name isn't on this wheel either.
oh Seth. Oh no. All right. Hopefully this third time is a charm. We'll get this thing given away.
We don't want this to take all night.
No. Roger Arsenault? Is that how you
Well,
pronounce it?
Roger, where you at, boys?
Oh, well, Christina said that Mary was here earlier too. Wow, they must have nodded off. We're so riveting on the show tonight.
I guess. Jeff says Mary went out with Keith.
Oh, well.
And you heard it here first.
I have
What was
not seen Roger here either.
No.
Hmm. Wow, this could go on. Yep.
Kind of like a shootout in hockey. It's going to take a while.
Oh, my goodness. So what was that name again? One last time?
Roger Arsenault.
Roger Arsenault. Roger, are you here? Roger.
Not feeling this.
200 people here and no Roger. All right. And no Mary.
I do have a side favor to ask. I meant to ask it earlier while this is going on. So I know there's a ton of people in the chat.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite things is where's everybody at or
Oh,
from?
yes, yes.
Mm.
So while this is going on, I'd love to see.
Yeah. While this is spinning, let us know where you're from.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're watching the show from. Roger out. Roger out.
Okay.
All right, one more time. Arizona, Phoenix area. All right. Nicaragua for Ron.
What? Nicaragua. That's
Oh, Craig Robbins. Craig, I know you're here. You were here earlier.
That's what we keep saying.
Yeah, we were here earlier. Craig, are you here? Let's see. We got Point Verde, Florida. What's it like down there in Florida right now? Is it nice? Hartselle, Colorado.
I'm always amazed by how far-reaching this is.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. All right. Craig Robbins, I won. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. PEI there for Ron. Plano, Texas. All right.
Yep. Craig, if you will get me your address, or Jan, but it's just easier if you get it to me, and I'll make sure she gets your book mailed out to you.
Cool. All right. Congrats, Craig. Took 4 spins, but we finally got to you.
Yeah. 4th time's the charm.
10
All right.
bucks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jan.
Let's see. Oh, it's cold for us. 48 degrees in Florida. Oh my goodness.
I feel no pity for you. I'm sorry.
Tennessee. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's great. It is fun to see outside Denver, Colorado. Let's going back here. Western Pennsylvania. That's where
Sault
I'm
Ste.
at.
Marie in Ontario.
Yeah. Look at that.
Toronto.
Good stuff. All right. Old Georgia. Wisconsin Rapids. Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. All right.
A Galant from PEI. I find that hard to believe.
Brazil. Is there a lot of glance up there?
Yes,
Central New York.
As common as McDonald in Nova Scotia.
it's true.
Oh, all right. So, all right. Congratulations. Now we can left coast. All right. Well, we can move along here. All right. So, in the next part of the show, we jump over to the features over there. And I guess these are being called. I guess we're allowed to talk about this, right, Linda? Site 1, Site 2. There was a question about this, and I think I brought it up before, talking about because I heard Jack say something about Site 1. So we were talking about Site 1. What the heck is Site 1? We never heard that before. So Site 1, I believe, is the circular, well, which was the circular feature on Lot 5. And Site 2 is what I was calling the privy, or the which
Rectangular feature.
Yes, the rectangular feature
Yep.
that they are working in, that Helen and them are working in right now, at this part of the show anyway. And that's and that's what they were. If you look at the size of this thing or the layout of this thing, it's very interesting. And you can see now. She said that when Helen got up there, she made a comment about, and I think I had this written down, but talked about it being in her 40 years of field work, she's never seen anything covered like this. Was that how it was?
Yep.
Is that how it went? Yeah, it was covered up like this. Something, and so it appears like it was hidden. Whatever it
It
was
was buried. Yeah. It was
She
buried.
talked about the rock walls on the side, but then it was filled with cobble and everything in the middle, and then covered with dirt. One of the things else she said was that the first top layer has no artifacts in it whatsoever. None.
Hmm.
Which means that to them tells them that it was covered in dirt as if to hide it. Now, again, you go to the privy thing. Would they bother to cover a privy when they left? I don't know. If they were hiding, if they were trying to hide their being there, maybe, but otherwise, no. Why would you care?
I think if it was military, I mean, it seems to be a lot of indications that there was a lot of military activity that would have been happening.
Mhm.
And there's no doubt if there was some type of encampment between either the English or the French, you would probably want to cover your tracks up if you were leaving. So,
Yep.
Mm.
Well, it goes back to the whole thing of, when they keep saying that Lot 5 was never known in the records to ever have a structure built on it.
Yeah.
Since the lots, what was it, 1762, when it was
Yep.
divided up into lots?
Mhm. Yep.
And they were never known to have a structure built on Lot 5. Yet now we're finding what looks like there was some sort of encampment there.
Yeah.
You're finding the Roman coins and the other coins that were there. You're finding all kinds of artifacts. Besides the coins, most of the artifacts are hitting about the middle 1700s time frame
Yeah.
Mhm.
or earlier, the 1600s. Now
That's why
these shears,
I keep going back to the movement of soil around that property. Like what caused the movement of soil?
Mhm.
So was this rectangular structure there at the time that they were digging the circular structure, and that's where some of the soil wound up?
Mm.
Or was Lot 5 ever farmed and they were moving things around, tilling and moving soil around Lot 5, and that's why the coins got shifted all over the place?
maybe,
Oh.
yeah, maybe if it was being used for farmland,
Mhm.
yeah,
I don't know how the heck 2,000-year-old Roman coins end up on an island in Nova Scotia.
yeah, I don't know,
Right.
but you go back to that there, and then these things are covered up in layers of dirt. Now we talked about the circular structure, and we know that circular feature was actually added by Robert Young. He had
Mhm.
put those rocks on there. That was Danny Henniger had supplied those pictures that were given to him from the Young family that showed that he had lined it with those stones. So it never was originally a round feature, but he knew it was something important, and they supposedly put those stones on there to preserve it. So what the heck, was that all about? We just don't know. But um, they're also finding, and I mentioned how the lots that the island was divided up into lots 1762. And that was actually Jamie finds a piece of pottery that has a small area glaze of it that allows her to identify the pottery as creamware, which was first made in 1762.
Mhm.
Mm.
So that doesn't mean that that's when that, I don't know.
No.
Does it? Does it mean?
Sometime after that, sometime in 1762 or later, somebody deposited that piece of creamware. It lost, got broken, whatever, but
Yep.
that's the time rate. It could have been 1777, could have been goodness knows.
Yep.
I don't think that type of pottery would last for 30 years. It's probably going to break
Yeah.
down, pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
That Lot 5, though, it's a very low area compared to the rest of the island. Like when you go over by the Blankenship house and the other properties, they're really up high on the hill and so forth. But Jeff, I remember when you're there in person and you kind of go from like Lot 5 around the backside of the island, it's very, very low to sea level and it's
Yep.
very, very flat.
Yeah.
So it would not be, and you've got quite a bit of water from that side of the island across the bay to, not Western Shore, but actually, well, Chester Basin and
Yep.
so forth on the other side.
Yep.
So if you had some really raging southerly winds and some bad weather, it's not that hard to believe that you could either have a boat run up in there or just stuff that was in the water get soil and dirt, and you can get materials pushed up onto the island. Would not be out of the realm at all.
Right.
Compared to the rest of the island, it's quite high. Like there's no water that's going to make it up to the top of the hill up in the Money Pit area. Like it's
Exactly.
way too high. But Lot 5 is really low to the ground. It's right there.
Yep.
Or low to the ground, low to the water.
Yeah, it really is. And that, while you were talking about that, I was over here nodding because I'm thinking, yeah, you're exactly right. When we were in there going around the island in the boat, you could definitely see that. You could see the difference in the height, the landmass itself, and how easily water would be up in there in the Lot 5 area. So yeah, hard to say. But again, you got these pieces, and somebody brought it up. I think it was Kat brought it up about the porcelain. And that's something that they found later on. Alex was at the rectangular feature where Helen and Moya We're continuing to look for clues and artifacts that could tell the team what structure, what it was, and who constructed it. And then that's when she talks about there being a salt glazed stoneware from the mid 1700s, more creamware that they found, and also part of a porcelain teacup. Then tells Alex it is rock lined pit that has been covered over. She tells him that there is loose rubble in the middle, and on top it was filled in. And that layer they're working on has artifacts, but the layer above was barren of artifacts, as if it would been covered up and hidden. So the tracks of them being there was hidden away. So why would you do that? Why would you hide where you've been?
Could it be an old school landfill garbage? It's not like you have the garbage guy showing up every day to pick up your stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Could they have just simply had an area which refuse and, I broke some dishes, I got some junk, I broke a pair of scissors. Would a lot of that stuff end up in an area and they kind of buried it as a pseudo landfill, latrine, something or other type of area? I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, and that makes me think about over in the swamp. Remember when Dr. Aaron Taylor and them were following that road up along, and they were heading in the northerly direction along the side of the swamp, and they got to that point up there just south of where the Nolan's property, the house, the buildings are.
Yes.
And they found that area where they were starting to pull out all those different chunks of pottery and stuff there. And I thought the same thing. It was either this was some sort of a place where they were like their kitchen or dining area set up for, military or many workers, or was it an area like you just said, a midden heap where they're throwing in their trash and whatnot into the spot. So I don't know. Yeah, it looks like there could very well have been a couple of them. So they're going to get some more answers out there. People were talking about that tree. They finally did cut that tree down. They need to get the stump out of there too, so they could really look underneath it. But there was a tree there when they first found it last year. But let's see. Would you go to the effort of building a landfill though? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what they did back then. I'd have to Google it, and I'm sure there's some historical records or practices of what would go on then.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. Anyway, that lot 5, I tell you what, what this all means to me anyway, is that lot 5 that they never had access to before because it was owned by Robert Young and then the Young family after he passed, has turned out to be one of the most important lots on the island as far as finding things. I mean, they have found a ton of things on this lot. And could you imagine if they didn't have it, how far behind they would be on all these artifacts?
Robert Young found a ton of things on that lot.
Yes, he did.
I was going to say, didn't he have like some astronomical amount, like 1,600 items or something like that they had pulled from that area already?
Yep.
So,
yep.
There's a lot.
Yeah. So, I don't know what it is with lot 5, but that lot was definitely being used by someone, and they built some kind of structure.
I think it was used by multiple peoples over tens, if not, hundreds of years.
Well, that side of the island would be certainly much more protected because the Smith's Cove and Swamp side is really, when you look out, you're going like open ocean. There's a series of islands to give some protection, but it gets pretty wild in there.
Yeah.
The inside of where lot 5 would be a much more protected area too.
And what I was thinking too was that would also be the good place to hide from ships passing by out in and amongst the islands. So if other ships are passing by and you're around the backside there between that and the mainland, that's a good place to hide.
It's true. It's very true.
So that's a good place to have your encampment. If you have a fire going or something back there, ships going by are not going to see it.
Yeah.
Especially if you have it in a pit. If you have the fire down, they might see the smoke, in the daytime, but not at night. But
well, you got to think that back in the in the 1700s, it was the English and French and battling over because one of one of the logs they were talking about is the boys were heading up to the French were going up to try to overtake or vice versa, I guess, when they're on their way to Louisburg
Yep.
and unloading treasure before they went into battle. So, I mean, it was just a constant change of hands between the English and the French would have been battling over. And Halifax being a big port at the time, this would have been like Mahone Bay area would have been a key stopping point before you kind of made your way in around Chebucto Head and had people shooting at you.
And when the British come up and brought their loyal soldiers, they had to have a place to encamp.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yep, exactly. That's why I really enjoy having you both of you guys on here, because you know all the local spots out there. And can kind of help us to understand the logistics of the place as well. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. So anyway, so lot 5 is going to continue. And as we've heard, there's a lot more to come in the future here, things that are being found. So let's move on. So they go over next. Given the significance of lot 5, does anybody know if lots 1 to 4 have been searched and metal detected?
Remember when we were there, the boys came out of the woods. Tony, when we were on Tony's tour.
That was Charles Barkhouse.
Charles Barkhouse came out. And wasn't that area, didn't he say that they had some type of lumber
there's a lumber mill right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, operation going on in that lot 1 to 4. So I think that area got really commercialized over a period of time.
Yeah. Thank you, Kate. That's very nice of you. Appreciate that very, very much.
Definitely. If I'm not mistaken, in that area, that the concrete, I'm going to call them abutments, but they're not. But the concrete
pillars,
pillars are still standing there that the lumber mill would have stood on.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I've seen those. Yeah, and he did. When Tony does that, when he takes you on a tour, he'll go up to the island, and when he sees somebody activity on the island, he'll go up and beep his horn on the boat, and then whoever's there, if they can, break away. And Charles they were filming. He was actually filming something, standing there talking, and he stepped away from the film crew to come over and stand on the shore and talk to all of us on the boat, which was really cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah. So there he was, Charles, and we were right there. I mean, very close to the shoreline. He was talking to us, and then finally he said, "Well, I got to get back to work." And he turned around, he went back over and continued filming at that point. So that was really cool. But that's lots. That would be lot maybe 2, I think, right there. Mm-hmm. Lot 1, lot 2 on the edge right there.
Yeah.
On that northern corner. So, but yeah. So I don't know, but you're right. It would have been commercialized pretty well, and I don't know when that lumber mill was there.
I can't remember the time period.
Linda, do you remember that lumber mill and when that was about the time it was in operation? I don't know. Does anyone in the chat, do you all remember when the lumber mill? The Henry said yes, there was a lumber mill on the west side. Yeah.
West side.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know if 1800s. Okay, Linda says 1800s. So
yeah, it would have been big in the area. Like there
makes sense. Yeah,
there was a huge lumber operation in Chester Basin. And they were floating woods and coming back and forth between Oak Island, Gold River, and the area was big business back then.
Yeah, Jan says the lumber mill was there because they could easily get wood to both sides. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the Vaughan brothers actually, one of the Vaughan brothers actually bought out the other Vaughan brother before he moved to New Brunswick. He sold half his lumber mill to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So next we jump over to the interpretive center where they got the machines and everything at this time, and this is where they bring in Mr. Carmen Legg, and Carmen comes over and he is asked to come and take a look at some of the finds that they have, and it happens to be that piece of what Gary said was probably the handle of a pair of shears, which immediately Carmen agrees with him and says, yep, that's it confirms that's exactly what it was. And then, of course, he talks about how they would do their blacksmith welding to weld the actual shears portion onto it right in this area here, which obviously has broken off over the years. The Carmen dating. Yes, indeed.
That's right.
And he, I mentioned that to him. I said, well, I didn't coin the phrase, but people are now calling it Carmen dating instead of carbon dating. And you should have seen how he lit up to that. He couldn't believe that, that people are doing that. But he was pleased, but yeah, he was really taken aback by that for a second. Really? I'm like, yes, they're calling it Carmen dating.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
yeah, it really is. That's pretty funny. And so he had mentioned this to Peter or the guys about the other shears that Dan Blankenship had found. And I forget where these were found, down in Smith's Cove area, I think. I don't remember exactly where they were found. But this was back around 1965 ish, right around there.
Oh, yeah.
67. All right. They found these and they were Spanish. And as they said on the show, this kind of fit right into Dan's. Dan was pretty convinced 1970. Oh, it was 1970 when he found them. Okay. Sorry about that. That these shears were actually Spanish and that they fit in with his theory. He thought that the treasure on the island was Spanish treasure. So that's why he liked these shears. So, and those are still there to be obviously in the interpretive center. Hopefully, if they get that back open, you'll be able to go and check these out for yourself. So that was really cool. And Carmen had said, but it's not joined. Now, if you notice the Spanish set, let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Right here on the handles. Why is it not zooming? Okay. All right. I can't zoom it in. These handles here are not attached on this point. They just curl around and they're not attached to the rest of it. Where the one that Carmen was looking at that they just found was, Carmen said it was a lot older. The ones that they just found were a lot older set. So I don't see that in the notes here, but here it is here. Let's see. Carmen confirms that the handle of the pair of scissors is from the 16 to 17, middle 1600s to early 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
Much older than the ones that Dan found in 1970. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So really cool find. There he is there talking about that, and another look at it where he's showing it. So that's really interesting. Good stuff. Let's jump back over to the money pit, shall we? And we'll finish up over there. A couple things about the you know what? And they had this, and I had to grab this too before we leave there. This was when we were talking about in 1762 when they divided up the island into lots. We've seen the pictures of the way they show it many times, but this is actually the island, a picture, Google picture or whatever of the island with the lots laid down over it. And I like this a little better because you get a little bit better perspective. Remember when during that little short that I was showing where they were showing where the house of Smith's house was, John Smith's house was, and he said it was on lot 18, and it was right on the border of the on the edge. He said it was in lot 18, so the money pit had to be in lot 18. They were standing right here by the borderline. So he said it couldn't be back over here because you would be in lot 17, and they knew for sure that the money pit was in lot 18. So that's kind of interesting. But you got now we finally get a layout.
It's a good current overhead shot too, because you can see where they've actually the construction in the garden shaft. If you zoom in on it, is there you can see the capping of the garden shaft. So
Right.
It's a current shot.
I think earlier when I was saying it's actually a good picture, when I was saying they actually do the choice drilling rig down into the woods.
Yes.
It goes down between the almost like the numbers 19 and 20 in that line.
Right in here.
Down there and lower is kind of, because if you run the angle, you see where the garden shaft is.
Yes, right here. Yep.
And they kind of run that line. If you were to draw a line going across.
Okay, so down this way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they end up now. I don't know if they find something, but I know that they end up continuing drilling. I'm assuming they're following the tunnel, and they get themselves right down into that wooded area.
Yeah,
which I thought, because I've never seen them do anything in there. And above the 20, because you can see the little, that's the sunken area.
Oh, the cave-in pit right here.
Yep. So it's certainly south of that.
Yep. And now, and then I did grab another picture of while they were doing this work, and I'm going to go back over here real quick too, because I think you're right. We were just talking about the lumber, and the mill was right over in here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, lot 1.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, and probably 4. I'm assuming was kind of the lumber area,
Uh-huh.
they call it.
Yep.
Hmm.
Interesting. I really like this picture. That was a really a good one, I think, to that I'm going to keep around because so many times you can refer to it, but like Tom said, it's an actual picture, overhead picture of the island, and then they overlay the grid work of the lots on top of it, which is really cool. Couple things about the money pit that I wanted to point out also. One of the shafts is still there. One of the cores, or the what am I trying to say? The wells, because it's a well drilling rig. One of the wells is still there, and I think this is the one. I think this was the D.5N 24.5, and it's this one. They left it there. It's this one right here, and I've got another picture of it too. Now, why did they leave it there? Well, remember, that's the one that they tried to put the camera down in, and when they got the camera down in there, it went black as soon as it hit the water.
Probably letting it settle out.
Maybe letting it settle
My
out
guess,
so they can
yeah.
get another look. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And immediately, many of us were asking the question, why didn't they put the sonar down that thing? Well, we don't know that they didn't. They didn't show it on the show, on TV. But that was what I was thinking. Why did they not put the sonar down in there? So hopefully we'll find out if they did, or if they end up getting the camera down in there. But they don't often leave these casings in the ground. They usually pull them back out and it leaves a hole. You see the holes that it leaves in the ground when they do.
Yeah.
But
It also looked like there was a capped casing right next to the gentleman that's running the drill.
yeah, right here.
Mm.
And they
There's
did.
lots of holes in the ground.
Yeah. A 400 last season alone or something like that. Another point, and I think this shows, you can see it here too. Yeah, it's right here. This one right here.
Yeah.
That's the 24 point. That's as far to the southwest as they could go before they end up down the hill into the garden or into the woman's memorial there. So that's 24.5.
Yep.
Just zoom that back out again, Jeff.
Uh-huh.
Because that actually gives a really good line. Yeah, because if you drew an imaginary line so you can see where the garden shaft, that line will go just under the top right-hand side of it, but then keeps going back down towards Isaac's Point.
Yeah.
That's where I think the entrance, I think the entrance is on the south side, and it ends up in the baby block area as well.
And that makes sense because and again, how many times have we seen Bacon, and we've also seen where the ship's log talks about the entrance from the shore.
Yeah.
So, and why would you not want to go looking for the entrance, to the shore? You want to go find that entrance and see if you can get in through there. And that would prove that it goes all the way through. I do not believe that this is a flood tunnel.
No.
Not 7 foot tall.
Not 7 feet tall.
Well, I have to say,
That's one heck of a flood.
That's one heck of a flood tunnel. Now, when they did 27, that's a monsoon tunnel. They did say when they did that it was collapsed at one point in this whole 27. They said it looked like it was collapsed. I grabbed this picture here. I wanted to show real quick too, because this one shows the drill rig in a different spot. And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Now here's that 24.5 sitting right there. And they were doing the 27, which was right over here behind it. But look where they're at right now. In this picture, they're way over here. They're between the garden shaft and 10X. 10X is right behind, right on the other side of the choice drill rig. And again, you think, what are they looking for over there? But there's the rig, and it's hooked up. It's going because you can see the water line is hooked up to it.
Because 10X is twice as deep as what they're going next to the garden.
235 feet. Yeah. And they're over here getting ready to receive cores. So I mean, they're over here. I grabbed that picture just simply because I'm like, whoa, and we talked about that earlier where they're jumping around a lot, in the season. So
I am most excited for episode 5 though, because the Wuhan,
yes.
dying for like, I think the whole note I feel for like 2 years now on us that
Yeah.
that's actually the cat's going to be out of the bag, and I think that's going to really take the veil off a lot of stuff for all of us. I hope.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Remember when they hit this wood at 95 feet? And here we go with that 95 feet. And this is part of why I was thinking that this is an offset chamber that's up a little bit higher than the baby blob area, because the baby blob was at 95 feet, the top of the tunnel. And now they're over here 12 feet higher and they're hitting it at 95 feet.
Mm.
Is it going uphill to it?
Mm.
Yeah, it
Well,
could be going uphill to an offset chamber. But my thought was that they jumped from 90 feet to 105 feet or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was because I didn't think you put the offset chamber directly over top of a tunnel. It would be off on an angle. It wouldn't be over top of, would it?
No, I don't think so. Not in my opinion. Of
You
course,
wouldn't stack one on top of the other because you're going to
No.
cause a collapse, right?
Correct. Yes, exactly. Oh, there you go. There it is. D.5N 27 at 95 feet is where they found this wood. And he said that this wood is different.
It
than the
smells
other
like
wood.
spruce.
Yeah, that's what Scott Barlow said. It looked like
Yeah.
spruce.
Yeah. So if that's spruce, what's everything else?
Yeah.
That's a very good question, because spruce would be everywhere down. Like,
Yeah, spruce
along
and
the
fir would
coast.
be everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this is why I'm still going back to this whole thing about, is this where the actual chamber is?
Mm.
And it would lead uphill. But again, if you got this other tunnel that's coming in from out Isaac's Point way somewhere coming in this way,
It's got to go uphill at some point.
it's got to go uphill at some point. So is it going uphill to that? And then you got the baby blob area. Is that coming up to? I don't know. It doesn't make sense that it would at that point, but maybe I don't
Because
know.
if you're digging a tunnel to the shore, if you're down 95 feet, you're 60 feet below sea level. So you're going to have to start coming up at some point.
Yeah, I know.
I think this is the magic of Oak Island. I think this is the only show that you could actually sit and we could spend hours and hours and days and weeks trying to decipher every little piece that we see.
And they
Exactly.
are.
It's unbelievable.
We are.
We're trying to decipher it. Yes. Another thing that they didn't talk about in one of these pictures here was this right here. Another very large chunk of timber that they have laying on the table here. You see that piece there?
Mm.
They never even mentioned it on the show, but they hit another very large chunk of timber right there. Wouldn't it be crazy if 10x? I know, and 10x is at 235 feet. What do you say? The end of the episode, Guptill mentioned a second tunnel that they had detected in that area. Yes, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Crossing tunnels, and maybe that's what Tom was just talking about.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
What was the depositor and what was the searcher?
Yeah.
Or did they build one and they get halfway through and you had a collapse or something and you end up having to start somewhere else? Like,
Could be.
somebody.
Yeah, definitely could be.
Mm.
Yeah. So, again, another big piece of wood, and but this area, I'm based upon the things that have been said, I'm really starting to think that there's an offset chamber. You had Doug Crow had mentioned it, the money pit being back behind the garden shaft. You had Alex then at the beginning of the show talk about could it be the conduit for which a high concentration of metals is flowing, bringing it to the baby blob.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're hitting something at 95 feet that's 12 feet above what you were hitting a tunnel before at 95 feet.
So they got to get that wood to the lab for Emma to get her to check it. They got to get the water over to Dr. Spooner and Dr. Michaels for them to check it.
Yes.
Right. They've got to get those. They got to get those tests done. Get them done quick. Hurry up.
Yep. Let's see. Yes, you do. I don't know. It's really becoming interesting. And this sample here of this tunnel, was actually found, and I got this picture here. I know Tom got me doing this so we could get these dates. This one here, when they were shoving all these pieces of wood into the bags to go get it tested, like Tom was just saying,
28.
it's backwards, but it says 28 June 23.
Yep, there's a shot of it after that. Yep, it's 107 feet wood.
Hmm. The crane would have been, the big crane was up at that point in time. Maybe they weren't digging in the garden shaft, then the crane was up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm. Well, that was the very, 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 very end of June, the 1st of July. That crane was up and moving around, but I don't know when they actually started pulling hammer grabs out, though.
Yeah, I don't know. But I can't wait until they do. Boy, I'm so excited about this, getting down into the bottom of the garden shaft and then being able to, start going laterally. And who better company to come in and do this? And here, we got that picture of the artist, computer generated picture of if they do hit this. Now here's your garden shaft coming down at the bottom of if it's 95 feet or 105 or thereabouts, 102, and then actually intersecting this other tunnel that they're chasing. And if they can get in there, if it's all collapsed, I don't know what you do with that. I really don't have a clue, because I'm not in that business, obviously. But if you could, and then you can start refurbing your way around and then follow those tunnels. Wasn't that going to be awesome?
I'm telling you, they were digging. There's a lot of offset chamber they've been digging. They've tunneled themselves a long ways in reinforcing again by the amount of stuff that they took out of there. They're way down there. They're in it. The good and bad is that I think they're actually going to come up. We're going to solve the mystery this year. But what will happen? Will that mean, is that going to be the end of the show now once we solve it, or?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
if the treasure's gone, they're going to have to go find out where it went.
Yeah.
No, but maybe they find just the answer, whether it's treasure or who or what or where.
Paper documents,
There's
artifacts.
definitively something that's going to get found here that's going to answer the question.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I sure hope so. Ron said, could the garden shaft be the offset chamber and the current drilling is leading to an entrance? Maybe, but I hope not, honestly, because that if it is the offset chamber, then it means there's nothing in it. It's already been cleaned out, if that were the case.
Yeah. The garden shaft itself, we know is 80 feet in height, right?
Yep.
So when I think of an offset chamber, I think of a room off of a tunnel somewhere, which would be off of a shaft.
Right.
But they
go ahead.
No, someone just said, what's the void that keeps showing in the trailer commercial? And it is, I think that's where at the bottom of the shaft, they see it, and they actually go and dig that out and reinforce it, and can literally walk into that, room or chamber.
And once they get down that additional 20 feet, they're also planning some sort of a drilling program to probe upwards of 40 feet.
Right. In any direction.
In any direction from the garden shaft.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And that's the part I'm really excited about. I cannot wait. And I know, like you said, they've already determined that there is a tunnel down there below the garden shaft. They know it.
Now, Jeff,
now they're going to get to it.
If they sell tickets to go down the shaft, are you going, or what? Are you signing up?
Oh yeah. I'm going.
Line.
I don't care how much it costs. No, I can't say that. No.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah, I know, right?
People are listening. Careful.
I would go in a heartbeat. That's something that I talked about, William. I had brought that up on that little video I did the other day. I was talking about Frobisher. We don't know, honestly, if that, unless you have proof that story is true. And I said that we don't know if this is true or not. But apparently, the Queen sent Captain Frobisher over to the New World and to bring back something. He was looking for something else, and he ended up coming back with supposedly 1,100 tons of fool's gold that made a fool out of himself and hurt some investors and stuff like that. If that story is true, and did he get it from Oak Island? We don't know. We can't.
That was one of main theories for several years, and is kind of one of my minor theories. It was a mining operation
Yeah,
that
exactly.
had gone on.
Yeah. Yep. And then in you know, and then the story, as the story that story goes, that it was passed on that these tunnels are all there, these mining tunnels are all there. Why not go use them for hiding of stuff? Okay, yeah, is that plausible? Yeah, it's plausible, but is it true? We just don't know. Honestly, we don't know if any of that story was true or not. But that was a story that was shared in season 2, episode number 2.
Yeah,
That was
long
on.
time ago.
And I happened to, I thought about that and I happened to catch it and go back and watch it. So, and then shared that story with everybody. But interesting. Okay, so at the latter part of the show, they get Dumas is there. They got the crane moved up on top of the garden shaft there, getting everything ready. They bring everybody out, and I thought it was really cool of Rick to give the keys to, it's just a handing of the keys, but it was kind of a ritualistic thing, and for Dan Hensky to be part of that because he's the elder statesman there now, of this whole thing. And so I thought that was really cool to give that to him to get this thing all started. And then they opened it up, and lo and behold, like Tom and I and Linda and everyone we were talking about last week, sure enough, it was filled with water. And now that's, and people said, and I think I had kind of questioned this before, but people have said, well, why was it full of water? Is it from the flood tunnels and all of that? No, I say no. Yeah, I say it's just
I think
groundwater.
it's groundwater. Because I mean that tunnel is not watertight, or that shaft is not watertight at the top.
Nope.
And
Nope.
it rained an
You know,
epic
water-
amount here. Epic amounts of rain.
Water typically only runs downhill, so
Thanks, Henry. Appreciate you coming by. But yeah, so that thing filled up with it's just groundwater and rain that had floated in there or poured into it from the very wet summer they had last summer. And it filled it up with water, and they're going to be able to pump it out. This is why they didn't have a big issue with keeping the thing dried out so that they could do this work in the first place last summer when they built the garden shaft, or they refurbed it, in the first place in season 10, because it's not tied to the flood tunnels yet. So that's why it's not getting that flood tunnel water. So, and when the guys dug it in the first place, but when they first went to this tunnel, it was all filled with dirt and water to begin with. And you always seen that spot there in the bottom of the woman's memorial was like a little pond right there. Now, here's my question that I have. Knowing that tunnel that they're chasing that's underneath the garden shaft, and people had said, well, again, when they were talking about this thing being full of water, they said, well, why is it right up to the top and not at sea level? Well, because it's not tied to the flood
correct.
tunnel.
It's groundwater.
It's groundwater. Correct. It's just filling it up like a tank. So once they tie into the tunnel that's down below, when they get down an extra 20 feet, they tie into the tunnel that's down below that is, we suppose, is tied to, we know they're flooded, and it is tied to the flood tunnels. Will that then make this tunnel rise to sea level? How is that going to work? That I don't understand.
It would fall. Because right now, if they're at the top of that shaft, they're 30 feet above sea level.
Correct.
Right. So sea level is sea level. So if you've got if you make a hole at the bottom of that, it's going to push the seawater backwards. The weight of the water is going to push it down. It's going to fall to sea level.
Yeah.
But right now, there's no way for the water to escape that hole, so it fills to the top.
Right. So once they get down and they tap into that tunnel that goes across the bottom, it will then be affected by the sea level?
No, because it will fall to the level of sea level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. If you cut a hole in the bottom of right now, it's like a big tank, and it's full of water. Right. Cut a hole in the bottom of that tank, and that water is going to find another way to come to level, and level would be sea level. So it's going to flow downwards from the top.
Correct.
It's not going to flow upwards.
Well, what I mean is it's always going to have water in it. After that point.
Up to,
It would go with the tide is what I meant,
exactly.
Craig. Thank you. Yeah, it'll move with the tide up, and that's what I was trying to say.
Now, keep in mind, when they actually go out of that tunnel at the bottom, they have to do the drill program first, and they're only going to be allowed to go after verified targets. So you just can't go down the bottom and start digging a shaft or digging a tunnel.
Right.
Right. They said last night the tunnels will go after verified targets.
Yeah.
So if they don't hit something with their drills down bottom that says there's a target over here, we're gonna tunnel in that direction.
Wow.
They're gonna get restricted by the permits, I would say.
Yeah.
It said,
So they better hit something.
yeah, because I wrote it down. They said their drill's gonna probe to 40 feet, and the tunnels will go after verified targets.
Hmm.
Now, verified target could be something on the muon detector too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
However, the muon detector diagram we saw said they were down 150 feet.
Yep. Yeah. And that is what's coming up in next week's show. So,
Mhm.
and I wanted to show as they were wrapping it up, they had the pump started going, as we saw. They put the pump, they lowered that pump down in there. And I had a picture of that. That's a pretty good sized pump. Here it is here. So they lowered the pump down in there. This bad boy right here. Then they fired it up with their big diesel generator. And they took the lid off, of course. That's a crane taking the lid off. I grabbed some of these pictures because I want to make a good thumbnail out of them. And they were pumping it into, I think somebody in the Discord was, and by the way, Jeff Signuri brought that up last night about when we were in Discord last night, we were over there talking about all this stuff. And Jeff's the one that brought that up. He asked that question about the water level in there being groundwater coming in. So, and I'm glad he brought that up. And that's one of the cool things about being in the Discord channel over there is because there was 14 of us in there last night talking about the show and doing a little watch party, everybody watching it on their own TVs. And we were just talking during the commercials and stuff. And before it started, we were talking about it. But it was a lot of fun. And but so much good information and questions are being raised during that time. And somebody had mentioned about this right here, about this chamber right here. So they're going to pump all this water out into this thing. Now, where it goes from there, it can't. They're not allowed to pump it into the ocean, correct? And not that I know of. It has
right behind that. There's another hose that comes out that goes into like a settling pond.
Okay, yeah. So, but then they're going to be able to test this water here or whatever. So that's kind of cool that they're pumping it into here and then it flows into that.
They pumped everything out of there into that last summer as well because they didn't know what they were pumping off the bottom, right? So they needed to see what if any artifacts they were pumping out of the hole.
Yeah, exactly. Their permit won't let them go down to 150 feet. It's only about 20 feet more that they have. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. The permit's only to go another 20 feet down.
Yep. So next time on the Curse of Oak Island, next week, on the horizon, and they're going to be looking at more specific and final. I don't know if this is the finalized data, but data looking at this Money Pit Void, Aladdin's Cave, that was called that by Marty Lagina, called it Aladdin's Cave. He named it. So we're going to get to see if this is what they're chasing. Hopefully we'll get some more. I hope that they show more pictures because they had that one picture earlier at the end of last season. They showed it would look like a tunnel. Remember that one? It looked like a gray tunnel.
Yeah.
This is just a big void area, which is really cool. So is this our offset chamber? Boy.
Why do they have that particular piece in a different color though?
I don't know. Because that's the actual
the blue, I think, was what they considered to be high density area.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and I think the pink is what they determined out of that high density area. They found a void,
an actual void. Yeah.
So by high density, I mean to me that could mean anything like if you had a concrete cavern or a concrete chamber, right? You're going to see a high density. That's all you're going to see. You're not going to see inside of it, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
But the void showed up somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what? I was just reading Craig and Linda going back and forth, and they also find this little bad boy right here. Is it a coin? Is it a lead bag seal? What is this thing that they found right here for next week? Gary finds it and he's all excited. He's high-fiving with Rick, I think it was, or whoever he was with that was digging with him. But I noticed this on this thing. Whatever this is, I noticed this. And it may be a root. It may be a root, but it looked like a copper wire right here, but it might
Does,
just be a
yeah.
root. But you see that right there, but it looks like it's a coin. And if it's a coin, then they obviously got it over to the interpretive center and got another look at it. Is that looks like a bag seal to me.
Yeah.
This picture here, because it's got that little piece in the center, that looks like a bag seal.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
You know, I thought it was a coin, but it may not be. So, you know, we all got out there and we got looking to see what this was. Somebody said it was a Cracker Barrel. It's a Cracker Barrel token. So I was out looking at coins that might have a
prize out of a Cracker Jack box.
Yeah, Cracker Jack box. CKER on it. I was looking for coins that had that on it, and then I was looking for bag seals that might have that on it. And neither one of them came up with anything, but I think it might be a bag seal,
Yeah.
a lead bag seal, because
I think that'll reference some company or someone specific, I'm guessing.
yeah, if you've got something that definitive on it, they should be able to tell whose it was. Should they not? Decker? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But you see CKER. And then do I have this picture? Let me look.
Sucker.
Sucker. Loser. Oh, money pit. Let me see if I can find this real quick, because Robert, RJ over in the Discord channel, he had found this thing right here, and I gotta pull this up real quick and see if I can find it quickly for everybody, because we're wrapping up things here.
There was a Becker drilling program.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I just happened to look at my list of drilling companies. Becker Drilling. They hit
Becker
bedrock
Drilling.
at 160 feet.
Oh, where did you have that, Robert? I'm trying to find it. He found it underneath the CKER. There looks like a little branch with some leaves on it.
Yeah.
And I where did he send that to? Oh, here it is. I found it. Oh, now can I get it? Let's see. Let's see if I can make it full screen. Let me switch screens here real quick. Let's see. Present, and then we'll call it here. Stop and present. Share. Okay. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. I can't really make it any bigger.
Oh, yeah.
But it's this right here. So it's CKER, I think that is. And there's letters up here on top. Looks like a Z and an O maybe. And then it's got this right here.
Right there, yeah.
This little, looks like some leaves or some kind of a little design of some sort on it.
I just sent you one where I had circled it earlier too, Jeff.
Oh, okay. All right.
It might come out a little clearer.
All right. And so, yeah. So what, they should be able to determine exactly what this is, or who it belongs to, I would think anyway. You would think that they should be able to get that information. But yeah, let's see if we'll get Tom's up here real quick here. There we go. There it is. So yeah, got that leaf on it. A little oak cluster for Oak Island. Ron, you're right on top of it, as always. So there you go. That's what we're up for next week, folks. We're looking for, and then we got Dumas on board. Dumas has already started their thing. I don't know how much of that we'll see next week's show. Dumas, what they're doing, because they got to pump everything out. But we are definitely going to see the guys from I forgot the guys that are doing the Muon. Is that Ideon? Ideon.
Ideon Technologies from British Columbia. Yeah. They're a Canadian company at British Columbia.
So we'll get some more detail on the Muon technology, and then we're going to get to look and find out what this bag seal, I think it's a bag seal, what that's all about, and hopefully get some kind of information about who this may have been. So hopefully that'll give us some answers. So, wow. Thank you, guys. What do you think? I mean, another great episode, I thought,
I'm excited for episode 5. I know that.
Yeah.
The plot thickens.
The plot thickens. Yeah. We've been waiting. How long have we been waiting for the Muon technology to give us some kind of good stuff?
Long time.
Year and a half?
Yep.
Yeah.
About a year and a half now.
I was doing some reading on this Ideon Technology company out in British Columbia the other day, and under best case scenario, you would never expect to get any sort of imagery in less than 7 months.
Yeah.
So for it to go a year or more would not be unheard of.
Yeah.
Yep. And you saw what happened when they did when they were overlooking at the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, and that was over 2 years to give them that data, and it showed them a room, and they were able to find. Sure enough, they found their way in there right above the entrance, and sure enough they got in there and they found a room. So it is proven technology. It definitely
definitely
does
is.
work.
It
It just
definitely is.
takes a long time to get.
And depending on the amount of solar storms that you get with the gamma rays, is what affects how long it takes to get them.
Yeah, and another thing, remember you guys both. Remember when you guys, Colin, you were out looking in your boat, and Tom, you found as well. We saw they had the muon sensors along the bottom of the swamp. We have not seen any data
we
on
haven't.
that at all, have we?
Nope,
No.
not a bit.
That's why I'm excited for next episode. Actually see some real stuff.
Yeah, I know. And I'm so excited about the garden.
We know there were at least 3 muon sensors at the bottom of that swamp.
Yes, there was. Yeah. Yep. And there was a couple in other areas around the island. I think there was one over on Nolan's by the house, just west of the house too, I think.
Yeah.
Over that way. By the eye of the swamp area, generally over that
I was
way.
looking, there's a map that shows you where they all are, and I couldn't find it today. I got looking for it and I get tied up doing something else.
We gotta dig that up. Well, so all right. So there you have it. Episode number 4, Sheer Mystery in the bag. Next week, of course, we'll be here again. It's going to be Tom and Seth Bridges will be joining us next week. So Tom and I with Seth Bridges will be here next week. We're going to be hitting it up on episode number 5. Colin, you're always welcome back anytime, sir. I'd love having you. I know you're a hardworking man, and you got to find time in your life. And of course, it's pushing 10 o'clock there, after 10 o'clock for you guys right now. So, but I very much appreciate both of you guys very much being here. It's really cool to have you. And folks, I really appreciate all of you joining us here tonight. So don't forget, tomorrow night, we also, for the Skinwalker Ranch fans, we have Caleb Bench here tomorrow from Skinwalker Ranch. He's going to be here with us. And Jim Kelgard and Shannon DeSalvo will be here with me, and we're going to have a good time with Mr. Bench tomorrow. So that'll be a lot of fun. And he's got a new announcement to make that you guys might be interested in. So, all right, that's it for me and Tom and Colin. Thank you, folks, for being here tonight. We'll catch you next time right here on the J Free 906 podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night.